Hello and welcome to AFcast. I'm your host Malcolm, and today I am here with Bryce Manley, and we are going to be talking about Modern Warfare 4, 2019, obviously, because there's technically another Modern Warfare 4. So,
Well, it's technically Modern Warfare, and the other one is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
yeah,
so
I know.
it's
It's
technically this
complicated.
one's proper name isn't even Modern Warfare 4. It's just Modern Warfare.
But a little bit about the game itself is the developers are Infinity Ward, Raven Software, Beanox, High Moon Studios. Infinity Ward is the main developer of the game. The engine they did was actually an advanced version of the already in place Infinity Ward engine. And the publishers for this is once again Activision, just like every Call of Duty. The composer for the game's music is Sarah Shatner or Skachner.
Shashner.
Something like that. The platforms that game is available on is PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And game is actually cross-compatible, but you have to be using the same device while you're playing in order for it to match you with people that are on other consoles and whatnot. And you can actually be in parties with people that are, on different consoles and stuff.
So long as the people in the lobby have the same input method.
Yeah, you have to have an Activision account that you can link together with people in order to do that as well. But this is an action-adventure game for the campaign, and then it has a lot of multiplayer, so it's an FPS as well. So let's first jump into the campaign. We're not going to say much because we don't want to give it away in case you guys want to play the campaign for yourselves. But this essentially takes place before the other Modern Warfare games, and you get to play as a Marine and a SAS soldier, like the typical Modern Warfare games where you switch perspective between multiple soldiers. And essentially you're trying to stop a chemical threat in a possible World War III, which is just your average game, stopping World War III from taking place.
Your average war game.
Yep.
Train goes boom.
But then we have multiplayer, and so essentially the first option that you'll see is a quick play feature, and next to it is a filter, and you're able to select between team deathmatch, TDM 20 player, domination 20 player, which is 10v10 by the way for the 20 player ones, cyber attack, search and destroy, headquarters, and now actually recently there's been kill confirmed that's been added. Which has also been added as a separate playlist for some reason, even though you can just filter it to just kill confirmed, but I'm not asking questions. So
it's probably a limited time thing or something.
Maybe, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they are going to continue adding more and more game modes, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But they also have a ground war, which is a 32 versus 32 game mode of domination, basically, with 5 objectives. And obviously this is going to be a much more massive map, and you have like tanks and helicopters and stuff. And each team has a separate headquarters that can't actually be taken over, but it can obviously be spawn camped, but that'll be really hard to do with 32 players going against you. So
it's very similar to Battlefield if you've ever played those games.
Yeah, it's like the main Battlefield multiplayer thing where there's 5 objectives, A through E, that you have to capture. But if somebody controls all 5 of these points for like 45 seconds or something like that, a nuke will actually go off if you manage to hold those points for those 45 seconds, which has happened to us twice now, but we haven't done to anyone else because everyone we play with in Ground War is incompetent. So
sounds about right.
Yeah. Actually, it's pretty much goes for any multiplayer game mode that we play. Because it's either we go against people who don't know anything that they're doing, or the people are on our team that don't know anything they're doing. It's not usually even games.
There's no in between.
Yeah, there's not really any in between.
And then there's games that we suck, but
yeah,
we don't talk about those.
We don't talk about those games. We don't record those either.
No.
Well, I record them. I just don't post them. But honestly, probably my favorite game mode that's been added is Gunfight, which is a 2v2 multiplayer mode, and you get random loadouts for 2 rounds, and essentially this is a first to 6, and it has its own separate map pool that are smaller than most maps, even like it's like a quarter the size of Nuketown probably, maybe half. So
They're very small maps that are meant to be very fast paced for this 2v2 game mode.
yeah. And they've also added another what's it called? Game mode pool thing called NVG, which I'm guessing stands for night vision goggles because it's basically a night map. It's basically night versions of all the maps in multiplayer. And I don't know, it's kind of random and kind of dumb in my opinion, but it's there.
It's kind of just them showing off, like, hey, we have this system in the game.
Yeah.
And let's show it off in more than just the multiplayer, or more than the campaign.
And then they also have free-for-all. They have realism, which is basically hardcore, but without the
Like,
reduced
no HUD.
damage.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, I think it is reduced damage. I was watching videos of it.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's like MP5 is so strong in it and
So
stuff.
what's the difference between hardcore and realism?
No HUD. Absolutely no HUD.
Alright.
That's all I can think of.
And then all the maps that are in these areas are like kind of throwbacks to the campaign that you will play.
Some are actually
so-
based off of, but some are parts of the campaign mission, just like segmented off.
And some are even like broader expansions of those things as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so besides all the game modes and maps and stuff like that, let's now get into the loadout system.
So for the loadout system, you have your primary and secondary guns, as per usual. And the primary weapons can have 5 attachments on them at any given time. This includes, it varies depending on the gun type, but you have usually a muzzle, a scope of some kind, sometimes a stock, sometimes an underbarrel. And then each weapon has a perk as well that you can have equipped, which these are different things like...
Some of them don't have perks. Oh no, all of them have
You,
perks. Never mind.
you have to get to a high enough level to
Yeah.
unlock them. But it's different things like faster melee times or small stuff like that.
And each one of these guns can go up to like level 70. It's so insane. But like each gun also has like pros and cons, or each attachment each has like pros and cons. But the perks that you can put on the on the guns are just pros. There's no cons to any of them, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. And then same thing with the secondaries. You can have 5 attachments on each of them, a perk, and yeah, it's your usual pistols, launchers, combat knife, that sort of thing. Each weapon also has 100 camos, technically 103, because you have, for the first 100 camos, it's 10 different challenges in increments. So each challenge itself has 10 increments with its own camo within it. This can be something like get 100 kills, and then you get a camo for 10 kills, 20 kills, 30 kills, something along those lines. And then the other 3 are gold, diamond, and Damascus, where gold is getting every camo on one weapon. Diamond is getting every camo on a weapon of a set class, so this be pistols, launchers, ARs, that sort of thing. And then Damascus, which is get every camo on every weapon.
Which is severely harder than what it was in previous games because of how much you actually have to unlock in this one. Like previously it was like maybe a little bit more than 10 camos per weapon. Now it's over 100.
Yeah. But it is, as I said, it's increments of the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier.
And then you also, besides just the camos, you also have the reticle types, just like most games do. Just same thing where if you use the reflex for a certain amount of time, then you'll gain more. And each one of these increments also have different challenges in themselves as well. There's also like different types of reflexes, and you can use each of those reflexes for the challenge unless it tells you to use a specific reflex, or hollow or optic or whatever you're...
It's complicated.
Yeah. But yeah, you also have your typical 3 perks. And this time there isn't like any, have 2 of this perk, or all 3 of your perks be either perk 1, perk 2,
There's
or
no
perk 3.
greed or gluttony
That's
like in the
it,
other
yeah.
games.
So for perk 1, you have double time, which allows you to sprint for longer and crouch walk faster. EOD, which takes reduced damage from non-kill streak explosives and fire. You can also hack enemy like claymores, proximity mines, and C4. Overkill, which is just using 2 primary weapons at a time. Scavenger, which allows you to pick up ammo off of dead bodies after you kill them, or enemies or teammates have killed them, or anything like that. Cold-blooded, which anything that uses thermal vision can see you, which is like thermal scopes, or even like
some of the score streaks in the game.
Yeah, some of the kill streaks use thermal vision in order to spot you, so they won't spot you if you have cold-blooded on.
Or it'll take longer to spot you in some instances.
Then you also have quick fix, which killing players or capturing objectives and holding objectives will increase your health regeneration rate, which is pretty nice.
So for perk 2, your first option is restock, which recharges your equipment over 30 seconds. This is your frag grenades, your whatever kind of grenades you have, tacticals and lethals.
We'll talk about that later,
Yeah. So your second option for perk 2 is hardline, which makes it so that each of your kill streaks cost 1 less kill in order to earn it. Your third option is high alert, which makes it so that your vision pulses and turns a hue, like a yellowish hue kind of, when someone outside of your current sight line is able to see you or is scoped in at you or what have you. I said you a lot there. Your fourth option is ghost, which means that you can't be spotted by anything recon, whether this be like the recon drone won't ping you, or UAVs, stuff like that. Your fifth option is kill chain, which makes it so that any kills that your kill streak earns count towards your kill streak. Because usually it's if you get a kill yourself with a gun or a frag or whatever, that counts towards your kill streak meter. But if you get a kill streak like the mini tank or whatever, that anything that gets doesn't count. Yes, Wilson. Anything that gets doesn't count towards your kill streak. But with this perk on, those kills do still count.
It's kind of OP in my opinion, but hey, it's there, so use it.
And then your last option for perk 2 is point man, which means that kill streaks are instead counted as score streaks.
It seems kind of pointless to me to waste a perk on it,
yeah.
But maybe it decreases it by a lot.
It will definitely decrease the cost, because anytime you get an assist account, anytime you get like a headshot, it's extra.
Because sometimes you get like 170 points for one kill if you headshot him, long shot him.
So I could see where people would want it, but I don't know. I feel like restock is better in that scenario, or just having restock as that perk is better.
And then our last perk is perk 3. So we have tune-up, which reduces the charge time for field upgrades, which we'll talk about in a second. You have amped, which essentially you have faster weapon swap, and for some reason faster launcher reload speed, probably because there's no real like quick reload speed option for launchers, but then again a lot of weapons don't really. So I don't know why that is, but
and it's like only launchers, not LMGs or what have you.
And then there's also Shrapnel, which is spawned with an extra lethal, and also explosive damage will actually reduce enemy health regeneration. So if you hit someone with a nade, not literally hit them with it, but if it blows up and you damage them with it, it will cause them to take longer to regenerate than they usually would if you were to just shoot them. And then you also have Battle Hardened, which reduces the effectiveness of like flash, concussion, and EMP effects. So this is like if you use the EMP drone or both the flashbang or concussion grenade. You also have Spotter, which allows you to, this is essentially Engineer from other Call of Duties. It allows you to see enemy equipment, field upgrades, and kill streaks through walls. And if you actually aim at them while you're like have clear sight of it, you can actually spot them for other people on your team.
You don't even have to have clear sight of it. Like I had that on one of my classes, and I was able to spot a claymore through a wall for my team.
Well, yeah, I meant just like having an opening. I just sorry, that wasn't very clear of myself. So
your sight wasn't clear.
And then the last one is Tracker, which same thing as any other Call of Duty, allows you to see people's footprints and essentially allow you to track them. Sadly, you don't get to choose the person, though. It's random.
Well, it's everyone, but...
Yeah.
It's not random, it's every enemy.
Well, you can't see everyone's footprints at the same time, though.
Oh, really? Did they change that in this?
No, it's the way it's been in other Call of Duties as
No,
well.
other Call of Duties showed all enemies' footprints at any given time.
Oh, and BO4 it worked like that as well, where a tracker you only saw one person's
Huh.
footprints at a time.
Yeah, like BO3 and stuff, where I use Tracker a ton, it was always that if anyone had run through that area recently, you could see every individual person's footprints.
I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, but that's what I thought. So, but yeah, so now to get onto our equipment, which was what Bryce was talking about with restock, where it takes 30 seconds to recharge instead of just not recharging at all.
Yeah.
So you have and by the way, for your classes and stuff like that, it doesn't, like, it's not 10 out of 10.
There's no class
Yeah.
cost. It's you can have everything.
as much as you want on it. But like the total amount of stuff that you can really have on it is 3 perks, a tactical, a lethal, and then your
weapons
2
with 5
weapons.
attachments
Yeah.
each. So
But the lethals that you can have is Claymore, frag grenades, Molotovs, C4, Semtex, throwing knives, proximity mines, and thermites. And then for your tacticals, you have flash, stun, concussion grenade, smoke, snapshot, which is another recon device that we talked about that Ghost can stop, where if you throw it inside of a room, it essentially detects everyone in a certain area.
and within the radius.
Yeah,
of
and
the
it kind
grenade.
of has a little hazy outline of someone. It's pretty useful, but if someone has Ghost, it doesn't spot them. But it will give you it shows you the perk symbol of Ghost if someone with
Yeah.
Ghost was hit by it.
It just doesn't tell you where they are exactly in the room.
And then you also have a heartbeat sensor, which Ghost cannot stop that, I'm pretty sure. Ghost, I don't think can
I
stop
don't think
heartbeat
I can,
sensor at
no.
all. And then there's also gas grenade, stim, and a decoy grenade. I have no idea what the decoy
A
grenade
decoy
is.
grenade, I think, is like what they used to have, where it's you can toss it in a room, and it would make gunshot noises and stuff. So that
Oh, I
way,
see.
and it would like pop up as a spot on the mini map that someone's shooting or what have you. So that way you think, oh, there's someone over there, sort of thing.
That might be useful. I don't know. But yeah. So now on to the kill streaks, or score streaks if you choose to have the score perk thing, the point man or whatever. So the first one that you can have is the personal radar, and I will say that the order that you unlock these in is very weird and unlike like any Call of Duty. Like you unlock care packages surprisingly late compared to most.
But then
COD
again,
games.
care packages in this game are a lot better.
That's true. Actually, most of the kill streaks in this game are actually really good.
Yeah,
it just
they're-
depends on your playstyle,
yeah.
really.
They feel really good and they feel very improved compared to other games.
Yeah. But essentially, your first 2 kill streaks that you can have are 3 kills. No idea what the score is. I didn't look that up. Not gonna worry about it. But essentially, the personal radar is the first one, and it is an escort drone that enables a radar like above you, and it pings nearby enemies. So it's kind of creates like a radius around you that it'll do the same effect as a UAV. And yeah, it's that simple.
But these people only appear for you, and it's a
It's
fairly
not
small
anyone
range.
else. And then the other 3 kill streak is the shield turret, which is essentially a turret, just you control it instead. And it's not like the Chonka's turret where enemies can also get on it. You and you alone can get on it. Actually, I don't know if friendlies can get on your. I'm pretty sure they can, but I'm not entirely sure by that. But I think that's to try and stop people from taking the turret away from you, since you earned it and whatnot. And then onto our 4 kill streaks. The first one is the counter UAV, which is a drone that is essentially constantly scrambling your mini map. So if somebody calls in a UAV or personal UAV, it's good to call in a counter UAV, hence the name counter UAV. And it's even just good to just disrupt people who like to look at their mini maps a lot. But then again, you can't exactly tell that easily.
Yeah.
And then the other 4 kill is UAV, which essentially is the personal UAV, except for it's across the entire map and everyone can see it.
On your team, that is.
On your team, yeah. And the last 4 kill streak is the care package, which is calling a random kill streak via a care package. Basically, a helicopter comes in and drops one in, and then you have to spend about a split second of capturing it, but enemy teams or teammates can actually pick it up for you.
But
Not for you, but it
instead
yeah.
of you, and they take longer to pick it up than you would.
Yeah.
That way, the owner has rights to it, more or less.
Yeah. And I have no idea how, because in previous games, this stuff was so glitchy when it came towards like missions and stuff like that, or maybe even the kill chain would be messed up if you were to call in a care package and get a kill streak for it, that like maybe it just won't give you that kill chain then. I don't know.
And like other games, care packages will kill enemies if it lands on them. However, I did see that it's very glitchy if it lands on vehicles.
Oh, really?
So it landed. I saw one where it landed on a person on an ATV, and they were glitched inside of the care package.
Oh.
They couldn't move or anything, or they were just stuck there. Like the ATV didn't blow up; it just kind of got trapped underneath it, and they couldn't move at all.
That's great. But also there's no perk anymore that allows you to trap them, which kind of sucks.
No engineer that lets you trap it. So.
Oh my gosh, I got a surprising amount of kills with doing that to people, is trapping their care packages. It was sad, but yeah. So on to our 5 kill streaks. The first one is a cluster strike, which is essentially you point a laser at an area, then it sends in about a 5-second barrage of missiles and whatnot, just exploding in an area.
It's kind of like it sends in like 5 missiles back to back in like 1-second increments, where it's like boom, boom, boom.
Another 5 kill streak is the cruise missile, which is essentially you control one single missile that you can speed up really quickly. So essentially the cluster missile or the cluster strike plus the cruise missile makes a hellstorm.
Yeah.
And so if you have both of these, you can you can essentially do a hellstorm.
Kind of ish.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, that's essentially how I saw it. It's just they took a hellstorm and they split it. The last 5 kill streak is the precision airstrike, which is you call in twin jets, and essentially is a precision airstrike, which makes along the best like available path. So like I'm pretty sure you get to line up where they go across,
kind of like the Rolling Thunders and stuff, but it's in a much narrower strip.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not really that good in my opinion, unless you're playing objective games maybe, but
objective game modes are games where like they're camping in the open in like one specific area.
But then again, that also goes for like cruise missile and cluster strike and stuff like that, in my opinion. So the 7 kill streaks is Wheelson, which is the mini tank that Bryce was talking about, which is you have to remote control it. It's not like the Cerberus where like it'll go off on its own, or
and then you have the option, but it's this one
you have to
control
which kind of sucks, but it also makes sense. But this isn't really that OP in my opinion, because it can be hard to find people if they're just hiding from it, because you can see it on the map the entire time it's active. It's very obvious. But you also have the infantry assault vehicle, which is a big tank. And you have to man it yourself. And essentially it has, like, you can shoot a cannon and stuff, and I'm pretty sure someone can actually be on top of it shooting a minigun that's on top.
It's like the default spawn, like, tanks in Ground War.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you have someone with an actual turret, but then you also have a person on top with a machine gun.
And then the last 7 kill streak is the sentry gun, which is the like normal turret that you can get as a 3 kill streak, but automated. And this is one of those things that thermal sight will come in handy for, and it doesn't spot you, at least immediately. I have no idea how quickly or if at all, but yeah. So this will automatically scan for people, and it will kill them very quickly. Honestly, in some cases, I would think that the manned like shield turret would be better, but
I feel like it's very situational, because I feel like you want to just set it on an objective and go somewhere else. The sentry is a lot better, but if you want to be able to sit there and actually get kills consistently, the shielded one is better.
But they're both really easy to destroy, in my opinion, because all you have to do
Yeah.
is throw one nade at it, and it's pretty much
Throw
done.
one nade, get behind it. There's
Yeah.
lots of ways to destroy those.
So there are 2 8-kill streaks. The first one is emergency airdrop, which is the exact same as the care package one, except for it's 3 instead of just 1.
Yeah.
But you have to be really careful with this because it can take a hot second to get all 3 of them, and other people will take them from you. But it is also really OP if you can get all of these and use them to your advantage. And then you also have the VTOL jet, which essentially releases an initial missile barrage, kind of like the cluster strike wherever you target it at.
Yeah.
And then it'll just hover above the area, kind of like a wraith, and shoot anyone it spots. Which,
Not quite as strong as a Wraith, but it still has like that machine
Yeah.
gun effect, and it's still pretty strong.
and once again, is thermal vision stuff.
Yeah.
So onto the 10-kill streaks, you have the chopper gunner, which is essentially a assault chopper that you have both a machine gun and like rocket launchers for, and you control it yourself, just like Wilson. It cannot be automatic at all. And then you also have the white phosphorus, which is essentially you choose an area on the battlefield for the planes to fly over. When they fly over, they drop this like these smoke grenades. Well, they look like smoke grenades, but if you were to walk into them, you'd be set on fire, and it actually weakens the enemies as well if they're in the white smoke. So it's actually pretty powerful, even though it's like just a strip of area.
Because it makes it harder for them to see, and it
Yeah.
can do the extra damage, weakens them, all of that.
And then there is one 11-kill streak, which is the support helo, which is exactly the same as the chopper gunner, except for it's automatic, and it'll just patrol the map. I don't think it has rockets, so I think it's just machine
I
guns.
believe it's just MGs.
So this is more like the Wraith than anything.
Yeah.
And then the 12-kill streak, actually there's 2. One is the gunship, which is exactly what all of the other ones have been, either mothership or gunship
Yeah.
or whatever it's been called. Just a thing with 3 different types of ammo. One is just like
Big rockets, medium rockets.
and then
infantry boom
and then
booms.
machine gun fire thing. I don't know.
It's even like the machine gun has small
explosive,
effects.
yeah.
Yeah. But this is you have to control it as well.
But honestly, this gunship is really easy to get compared to the other.
yeah.
Like, I was able to get this really easily my one game. Because once you get the kill chain thing, you can get any kill streak you really want. It's really OP. But because if you get the VTOL and you know where to put it, like you basically can get anything
Yeah.
you want. So this game's kill streaks are a little bit off, but
Yeah. They're a little on the stronger side.
yeah. And then you have the other 12-kill streak, which is the advanced UAV, which is a UAV that you can't shoot down because it's considered orbital or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's like a satellite as opposed to.
And this is, I forget what it was called in the other Call of Duties, started with an H or something like that. But essentially,
Hater.
Hater, yeah. The HATR. And it essentially just shows the arrows of the enemies on your map, and it's constant. It's not like
It's not pulsing.
yeah,
like
it's
the
not-
actual UAV is.
yeah.
It's constant. It shows you exactly where they're looking, where they are. That sort
and
of stuff.
even if they're shooting, they'll like
yeah, like the end
get
will-
flashes and
right.
stuff like that. So, I think if you have suppressor, it doesn't light up, but you'll still have the arrow unless you have ghost on. So.
But having suppressor doesn't help in that situation.
No, it really doesn't. And the 15 kill streak is the Juggernaut, which is essentially you call in a care package, drops the same way as most care packages do, and essentially contains assault gear that gives you heavy armor and a minigun. And if you are using the Juggernaut and you die while you're using it, the minigun will actually drop on the ground for anyone to pick up and use. I don't know if this includes the enemy. I'm assuming it would.
Yeah.
But that is kind of sweet.
But obviously, if they pick up the minigun, they're not going to have the increased health that the Juggernaut would.
As soon as I unlock the Juggernaut, I'm 100% going to try and get it. And there is technically another kill streak, which is nuke. If you get a nuclear, if you get 30 kills in a row, you will get a score streak that allows you to call in a nuke that will completely end the game and you will win.
Yeah, instantly. Well, after 10 seconds.
And this doesn't need to be equipped at all.
Yeah.
This is just like a care package where if you pick it up, then you have it as a separate.
It's just one of those things where it's if you reach those 30 kills, like the old nukes and the old Call of Duties, where if you reach those 30 kills, it just kind of pops up above your kill streaks and you can use it at any time.
Even in some like zombies things and stuff like that. Although I think those were automatic, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now on to the field upgrades.
So the first field upgrade is deployable cover, which if you've played Siege or any games like that where you can put down a shield, it's the same sort of thing. You can set down a shield that you can hide behind, enemies can hide behind, either way. The next one is munitions box, which you can throw on the ground, and it has ammo and grenades in it for you and your teammates to pick up. So this is...
Each person can only pick up once, though, unless they die.
Once per life, yeah.
Yeah.
The next is recon drone, which is you have to control it to a degree where you can control the drone, put it wherever you want, and it will mark enemies, equipment, and vehicles that are on the map. But once you get it to the position you want it, you can let it go.
Kind of like
Crypto from Apex Legends.
From Apex Legends, or Black Ops 4, there was Outrider, was her name?
Yeah, with her little drone that she could use. And then stopping power rounds, which reloads your gun with 30 bullets, I believe. Actually, I think it depends on the gun, but like some ARs and stuff is like 30 bullets. Shotguns is like 8 or what have you. But
I figured it would have just been a full mag. I haven't used them yet.
No, I used on my shotgun. It definitely gave me more than the 2 for the double barrel shotgun.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
But it basically, these rounds do a good amount extra damage compared to your normal rounds. And then Dead Silence is the next one, which they removed from the actual perk. They made it this, where temporarily makes your footsteps quieter, and whenever you get a kill while this is active, it refreshes the duration. So
it's also weird because it makes you feel like you're going faster because it increases the FOV.
Yeah, it has an FOV shift, even though. And then the next one is Tactical Insertion, which if you've played like Black Ops 2 and before, you know what this is.
World War II as well had this.
Yeah, you can drop in this case, it's a flare that determines when you die, you will spawn there. And then you have a trophy system, which is a trophy system. It will shoot down any incoming lethal or tactical grenades that are coming at you. And the last one is the EMP drone, which you can detonate an EMP payload at a specific location using an RC plane. And it disables all electronics in that area, whether that be vehicles, kill streaks,
another EMP drone,
anything like that. And it also does if you hit a person with it, it's like an insta kill, unless they're a juggernaut. But yeah,
but that's because they're juggernauts.
Yeah.
So you also have the armory, which is essentially a place that shows you all the blueprints for like special weapons that you've gotten, whether this is from DLC or the missions that you can do, because you are able to activate multiplayer missions that once every challenge that you complete, because like each one has like 5 to 12 steps in it.
Yeah.
And each time you complete a step, it gives you a calling card, an emblem, decal, something like that.
Something small for your identity page.
And then for the final one, it gives you a weapon blueprint. And essentially these weapon blueprints you're able to have for your guns that will give you the attachments for that. And they're pretty good, actually.
It's basically just modifications of the current guns.
Yeah.
Like there's the XI3 M4 or something like that, which is an M4A4 rework, where it's puts a 4X on it, the gun and the barrel and a couple other things. But you can't change what's on it. It just kind of gives you, hey, here's this gun with these attachments on it and this special name. That's all it really does.
I think it doesn't also have like a special skin and stuff on it as well.
I believe so, yeah. Because like you have the blue silence knife, which has this custom blue skin on it and stuff like that.
Kind of reminds me of Wildlands, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, where you could have like some DLCs or challenges could give you like some custom made
weapons with the specific
from
names
developers and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you also have a lot of operators to choose from. You have either a default one. Well, there's Coalition or there's Allegiance, which is essentially
the two different teams that you play on. It's how you used to have like CDC and Black Ops, stuff like that.
Each one of them have a default character you'll get, and then each one of them will also have 3 different categories with 3 different people in each of those categories. So it'll be like SAS or Spetsnaz or something like that.
Watchdogs.
Yeah. And each of these groups will essentially have different, or each of these people will have different challenges for unlocking them. And there's nothing really special about them besides how they look, but also each one of them has a different execution that you can do on people. And executions are essentially like most games where you come up behind someone and hold the melee button, and you do a special action that looks really badass for most of them. And each one of these people will do different things, but there are also just more challenges to complete if you are someone like me who likes to complete every challenge they can.
They are fairly easy challenges too. It just requires playtime. Like I know one's like play 75 games.
One's like kill 300 people with ARs.
So it's like it's not stuff that you actually have to try for. You just need to play a decent amount.
Yeah. And then you also have identity, just like usual, where you can have like your calling card, your emblem, your clan tag. And it also shows you like your records of like your KDR or your just win-loss ratio, anything like that, your previous games, everything. So, and then there's the typical Call of Duty shop where it is pay to have an advantage. So,
well, give them a break. They haven't done that yet in this game.
Yet is the key word.
Because they haven't released anything that is pay for, really, that is impacting the game.
So our last pillar in this Call of Duty is the co-op mode. So essentially, there's 2 different things in this co-op mode. There is public match and there is classic special ops. So first off, before I get into those, you have all of the same windows as the multiplayer does. So you have the same like loadouts, operators, like identity shop, everything like that. The only thing that's different is the play screen where it has the public match and classic special ops.
Well, you also, instead of field upgrades, you have roles as well, which is like you have assault, which can give the entire team power stopping rounds, or you have medic who can revive teammates, stuff like that, instead of the stopping power rounds normally, or munition box.
So for public match, this is the one that you have to have 4 people for, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for public match, you have to have 4 people. This can be a looking for group, your own party, or
it'll randomly
give you people. Yeah. But essentially gives you 4 operations. There's Operation Headhunter, Operation Kuvalda, Operation Paladin, and Operation Crosswind. And each of these are basically just an addition to like the campaign. Like once you finish at the end,
kind of like a small extended story.
Yeah. It's not even really like story per se. Yeah. It's just missions that Price's team does essentially. And then there's also classical special ops, which is apparently a replayable, curated experience where your proficiency with special weapons, kill streaks, and other tools will be tested. So this is basically just another mission that you can do that is the extension of
It's very similar to like Modern Warfare 3 Survival, where it's you kind of are stuck in an area and it's survive as long as you can, but in this game there's actually an ending to it.
There's an evac ship.
So once you
chopper
survive for so long, an evac chopper comes in to save you.
Man, I feel like every game I play with some kind of evac thing is always a ship. So I'm so used to that. But there's also a couple other options. There's private match, just like there is in multiplayer as well, that you're able to just do classical special ops with just private party, which I don't know how that's any different from just playing classic special ops with your own party, but I have no idea. And then there's also cinematics, which I have no idea why this is in co-op mode because I'm pretty sure this has the cinematics for both the campaign and
The only reason I can
operations and
think
stuff.
is because at the end of the campaign, it's like, oh, it's a continued here, so you go
Yeah.
there next, and it contains both things. So if, say, you complete the campaign,
It's just kind of random.
so if you complete the campaign, you don't watch the cinematics and get spoilers for whatever happens in co-op.
Yeah. So the gameplay itself, hit reg is registration, by the way, is better than most Call of Duties, but
It's still spotty in situations. And
It's not always great. And shotguns are just a little bit OP. Like, you can just only kind of snipe people halfway across the map with them.
think of the Boss G from Siege, but better at close range.
Pretty much. Because it still has, like, a spread, but the spread is, like, so direct that you can one-shot people from super
Yeah.
far away or still two-shot them, which is still kind of stupid. But shotguns are just really OP in this game. I can understand stuff like the double barrel being one-shot, but, like, some of the other guns are just, they're too OP. But you also have snipers and marksman rifles in ground war can sometimes suck because of the damage fall off. So range is much different when you're playing ground war than it is when you're playing just normal multiplayer because the map is like
Much
bigger. So when you have people trying to snipe you, sometimes like you have to go for the head or else it's not a one shot.
And you have to take into account bullet drop and all of that.
Yeah.
Which obviously with the other guns, if like you were to use an AR and try to shoot someone at really long range, you have the same issues. But it's just snipers and marksman rifles, you feel it more because you try to do those long range engagements more often.
And sometimes it feels like you just keep getting hit markers on someone and then someone gets a one shot body shot on you and you're pissed. Mainly me. I'm very pissed. But one thing I'm also kind of disappointed in is that helicopters are like mainly support in this game instead of attack. Our friend Bryce does not think of it that way. He rams people with the choppers if he can that are on the ground. So
If they're on the ground, if they're on a building, if they're...
slightly different approach than normal. But it is a little disappointing because I kind of wanted it to be more progressive with, you know, being able to attack with it and stuff like that. And you were also screwed if there's a tank because it's basically just a constantly spawning kill streak that you can get in the game, which is kind of dumb, but because it's pretty much the exact same as the infantry tank that you can get in multiplayer.
A little bit better because it actually has a giant turret on it that you can shoot from inside the tank.
It's makes it pointless to have the infantry tank in my opinion, but
yeah,
I don't know, maybe you could just have a whole army of tanks then.
On the ridge on Quarry.
Get 32v32 of just tanks.
That would be awesome.
That actually would be awesome though. But essentially in summary, the campaign is really good. The graphics are amazing in this game, like a lot better than a lot of games actually. Like I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Like really surprised. The soundtrack is pretty good as well. Pretty much all Call of Duties, they're just pretty good.
It's not super unique, or it's pretty unique, but it's not like super good or really bad. It's kind of just little above average.
I feel like what's always best when it comes to Call of Duty soundtracks is like the Black Ops Zombies ones. Those are always like the best ones ever in my opinion. Like the Wonder Fizz and the Double Tap Root Beer, like it's so funny. But multiplayer is still broken, but it's better than it's not as broken.
It's kind of an improvement going back to, because obviously you're going back to the whole boots on the ground system and all of that, where it's the slower pace, Modern Warfare days and stuff like that, where you didn't have as much issue with the multiplayer. And I feel like they're making good steps towards going back towards that, where you don't have as many issues, but they're still pretty present.
And then also Spec Ops is back. So a lot of people are happy about Special Ops being back. But a lot of people are disappointed because there's not like a survive for as long as you can survival game mode.
With the systems that they had before, where you could like buy guns, buy all this sort of stuff.
And a lot of people are hoping they add more. And I actually kind of hope they add more of the operations as well.
Yeah.
Because the operations seem pretty cool. and some of them seem like more fleshed out than others do, and like difficulty spikes randomly. Like it doesn't make sense all the time. It goes kind of same thing for the campaign sometimes as well, but
where it's like,
the campaign's a lot more chill than.
Yeah, but even in campaign, there was some missions where it's like, oh, this is easy, and this is a pain.
Yeah, sometimes stuff wasn't also made clear all the time. Like the same time that this podcast will be released, I'll have my first walkthrough of the campaign being released as well, and like there's just some stuff that wasn't clear enough to me, and like I would die to it, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, oh, that's what they were saying.
Where they wouldn't even make mention of it, and it would happen, and it's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, but overall, I give this game a 7 out of 10 because just it's still a rage machine. And like I don't know, the campaign was really good. Spec Ops is really good. But the multiplayer is still kind of especially with how much you have to level up your weapons and how many like camos and stuff there are, which is pretty cool in my opinion. But it's just like there's just so much. They added so much in comparison to everything else.
And then I give the game an 8 out of 10 because, as we said, it's going back to the bases. It's improving a lot compared to the more recent games, but there's still the issues. You still have hit reg issues. You have small bugs here and there, and it definitely could be better. But it is a lot better than the previous games have been, or the recent games have been.
Yeah. But besides all of that, make sure you check out our Instagram and Twitter for any updates for either this podcast, YouTube channels, anything that's going on with our gaming community. Also, make sure you check out our website, which has all the links and information about all of our gaming stuff for our clan that we have set up. Also, make sure you check out our Discord if you want to talk with us or other people about either this game or other games we've reviewed or played, anything like that. Also, make sure you check out DJ Augie because he made the music for the beginning and end of this podcast. And like I mentioned earlier, I have also released a YouTube video, which will be in the description. All of this will be in the description. But the YouTube video is the first part of the walkthrough, and I will be releasing stuff about the multiplayer as well on YouTube. So make sure you check out that stuff. But besides all of that, game on.